Alright, so this is an introduction to computing or IT series. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reading the CompTIA A+ Guide to IT Technical Support Comprehensive 10th Edition textbook and going over the curriculum. So if you're looking to get into IT or you're going to take the CompTIA test and get your CompTIA certification, or you just want to know more about the computer in general, then I recommend this series. Again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the chapters and go over them more in depth. Now, at the end of the chapter, they have a quiz that I would like you guys to take that, of course, I'm going to go over in a video. And they also have what's called hands-on projects. And the hands-on projects, you pretty much just do what you learned in that chapter. So as far as chapter one, taking the computer apart and putting it back together, we're going to take the computer apart, look at the components, and put it back together. So to give you an overview of the curriculum, chapter one, again, taking the computer apart and putting it back together, exploring a desktop computer. First, look at laptop components. Then we move on to chapter two, all about motherboards. So motherboard types and features, motherboard form factors, using BIOS UEFI setup to configure a motherboard. Then we move on to chapter three, supporting processors and upgrading memory. So types and characteristics of processors, Intel processors, AMD processors, selecting and installing a processor. Then chapter four, supporting the power system and troubleshooting computers. So if you don't know what supporting the power system is, just to give you an idea, of course your power system consists of circuits, and that circuit or those circuits have a lot of electricity running through them, which can cause them to heat up. And we have ways of cooling them down so that they don't overheat. So we have fans and processor coolers to keep them from, of course, getting too hot and malfunctioning. Chapter 5, supporting hard drives and other storage devices. Chapter 6, supporting I/O devices. Chapter 7, setting up a local network. Chapter 8, network infrastructure and troubleshooting. Chapter 9, supporting mobile devices. So, types of mobile devices. We have Android by Google, iOS by Apple, Windows by Microsoft, Chrome by Google. And then we move on to chapter 10, virtualization, cloud computing, and printers. So, client-side virtualization, and again, cloud computing. Chapter 11, Windows versions and customer service. Chapter 12, installing Windows. Chapter 13, maintaining Windows. Chapter 14, troubleshooting Windows after startup. Chapter 15, troubleshooting Windows startup. Chapter 16, securing and sharing Windows resources. Chapter 17, security strategies and documentation. And last but not least, Chapter 18, Mac OS, Linux, and scripting. So in the next video, we're going to start with taking the computer apart and putting it back together.